Nobody really tells you this about your 20s. It's supposed to be the best time of your life, right? But for so many of us, it just feels, well, confusing. If you've ever felt like you're falling behind, this is for you. I mean, it's the big question, isn't it? The one that keeps so many of us up at night. You look around, and it feels like you're the only one who doesn't have it all figured out. But what if I told you that feeling isn't just normal? What if it's practically a universal experience for our generation?
So you open your phone, you start scrolling. You see the promotions, the engagements, the perfect travel photos, and that little voice in your head starts whispering, "Am I the only one who's messing this up?"
Or maybe you've switched jobs a couple of times, or you're seriously questioning that degree you spent 4 years on. That constant switching and second guessing, it can make you feel like you're just running in place, not getting anywhere.
That feeling of comparison is just crushing. It creates this crazy illusion that everyone else got a secret instruction manual for life, and you, well, you must have lost your copy. But the real truth is, there is no manual. Not anymore. Okay, so let's get to the absolute heart of this, because once you understand this one thing, everything changes. The reason you feel so lost isn't because you've made a wrong turn. It's because the map you were given is for a world that literally no longer exists. Think about it. For our parents' generation, the path was like a straightforward highway. You studied hard, you got a stable job for life, you got married, and that was pretty much that. Our path? It's more like an open field with 1,000 different trails, fog rolling in, and the ground constantly shifting under our feet. There's no map, because the landscape itself is being redrawn, right now, by AI and constant change. Yeah, we're living through a massive shift. AI is reshaping entire industries, which creates what researchers call technology stress. That nagging feeling that you have to learn a new AI tool or coding language right now just to stay relevant. And all those choices we have, they don't always feel liberating. They often lead to paralysis. I mean, when you can do anything, how in the world do you choose just one thing? But here's where it gets really, really interesting. This feeling of confusion, all this chaos, it's not just a product of our times. It's actually a well-documented psychological stage of life. It has a name. And this is the key. Psychologists call it emerging adulthood. It's the specific period, roughly from 18 to 29, that's not really adolescence anymore, but it's not quite full-blown adulthood either. It is a recognized developmental phase, and it's defined by exploration and instability. So no, you're not just making it up. And this stage has a few key features that probably sound pretty familiar. First, it's the age of identity exploration, trying on different jobs, relationships, even different versions of yourself to see what fits. It's also the age of instability, with all the frequent changes in where you live or what you do. And it's all defined by that classic feeling of being in between. Like you have adult responsibilities, but you don't quite feel like you've arrived yet. And here's the wild paradox of this age. Even with all the instability, it's also an age of immense possibility. A landmark study found that a staggering 92% of people in this phase are optimistic about their future, believing they have a good shot at living even better than their parents did. So let's just put this all together. If you walk away with one thing, let it be this. You are not lost because you are failing. It's not about your shortcomings or some wrong decision you made. You're lost because you're a pioneer exploring a brand new world without a map. That feeling of being lost is actually a sign that you're awake to the new reality. You're adapting. You're not failing. Okay, so if the old map is gone, what do we use instead? Well, we need a new compass. Let's talk about 3 powerful mental shifts that can guide you in this age of AI. So first, we're going to talk about building durable skills, not just rigid plans that can so easily break. Second, why it's so important to take action before you feel like you have perfect clarity. And third, how to start reframing your life as a series of small, low-stakes experiments. You know that old 5-year plan? In a world where entire jobs can be totally redefined by AI in just a couple of years, that plan is brittle. It's designed to break. But your skills, your ability to communicate, to learn, to solve problems, those are durable. They stay with you no matter how the job market shifts. And that brings us to this new hierarchy of skills. Yes, technical skills are your ticket to the game. They get you in the door. But it's the uniquely human skills, things like empathy, critical thinking, creativity, that AI can't replicate. And those are what will keep you in the game and help you grow. Honestly, they are your new career insurance policy.
We have this idea that we need to think our way to the perfect career path, but clarity is a byproduct of action. It's not something you find by sitting in a room and thinking really hard about it. You find it by trying things, by getting feedback from reality, and by seeing what actually energizes you. So just take one small step, even if it feels imperfect.
And that leads right into the final shift. You have to stop seeing your 20s as a race to some imaginary finish line. See them as a laboratory. Your job isn't to be perfect, it's to run experiments. Try that side project, take that online AI course, move to that new city. Your goal is to gather data on what makes you come alive. So, as we wrap this up, let's bring it back to the most important point of all. In this new mapless world, what's the one thing that will truly guide you forward? First, you have to internalize this. Seriously, say it to yourself. You are not lost. The feeling you have is the feeling of being a navigator in uncharted territory. This is not a race against anybody else. Your timeline is your own. You are exactly where you need to be, early in the process of building a life that is uniquely, truly yours. Because in this new world, the winners aren't the people with the most perfect plan. They're the ones who are resilient. They're the ones who just keep taking the next step, running the next experiment, and learning as they go. The people who keep moving forward, they're the ones who figure it out. So I'll leave you with this one question. Forget the 5-year plan. Forget about what everyone else is doing. What is one small, low-stakes experiment you can run this week to learn something new about yourself or the world? Just start there.